Indie games have revolutionized the gaming industry in the recent years, capturing the hearts of gamers worldwide. With their unique, innovative approach to game design and immersive, heartfelt stories, indie games have proven that even with a small budget and even a smaller team, a great idea coupled with a blazing passion can lead to the creation of a successful game. In contrast to the disappointing AAA titles that have been releasing in the last few years, to say the least, as well as the plague of live service game that has infected the industry, indie games have become the scouting legion of the gaming world, standing against the AAA titans. Also, hashtag Aaron did nothing wrong. But what is an indie game? Indie game is short for independent game. They're made by a small independent studio, usually with a tight budget and limited resources. So here are some indie games that help shape and bring the indie game scene to the mainstream. Minecraft, where you can build your dream home or just spend hours digging a really big hole, just like Valheim. Undertale will make you question your moral compass and your ability to survive a dance-off with a skeleton. Stardew Valley, where you can escape the stresses of modern life and trade them in for the stresses of managing a virtual farm, fishing, and dating NPCs. Hollow Knight, where bugs have swords, cities are ancient, and you will die so many times that death will start feeling like a warm hug. And let's not forget Hades, winner of Game of the Year 2021, where you play as
Zagreus,
trying to escape your controlling father and find your mom, and dying like a billion times along the way. But of course, not all indie games are created equal. For every Celeste or Transistor, there are dozens of games that are, well, let's just say they're not exactly Game of the Year materials. But that's part of the charm. You never quite know what you're going to get. It's like a loot box of chocolates. Sometimes it's the best chocolate you've ever tasted, and sometimes it's Hershey's. The rise of indie games. The indie game scene has experienced a tremendous surge in the last decade, with an ever-growing number of games being released. Thanks to the advancement and accessibility of game engine, the shifting attitudes towards game development, online distribution storefronts, and crowdfunding. These factors have created an environment in which independent developers can create and release games without the need for corporate overlords. So let's take a closer look at how these pieces came together to create the gaming revolution.
I need performance capture to work like a mirror. I need it to capture whether I'm acting scared or angry. And sometimes, all I need is a look. I need performance capture to work like a mirror. I need it to capture whether I'm acting scared or angry. And sometimes, all I need is a look.
The rise of engines like Unity, Game Maker Studio, and Unreal Engine has made it possible for anyone to create their own game, whether they are a seasoned developer or a complete newbie. With these engines, even non-technical people can now create high-quality games without the need for a huge budget or excessive knowledge of code. These engines offer a range of features like drag-and-drop functionalities and pre-built assets and marketplaces that make game development accessible to more people. The gaming industry shift towards more unique and innovative experiences gained momentum in the late 2000s. Indie games emerged as an alternative to the cookie-cutter AAA titles, or as known as all Ubisoft games, providing players with fresh and unconventional gaming experiences that tantalize their imaginations and left them wanting more. Meanwhile, the gaming industry has been hit with a wave of corporate greed in the form of live service games that prioritize monetization over creativity and passion. As gamers become wary of this trend, they turn to indie games knowing that these developers driven by genuine love for the art of game design. The result? The demand for indie games has skyrocketed, with players seeking out unique and authentic gaming experiences crafted with care, dedications, and above all, passion. The popularity of online distribution platforms such as Steam, Epic, and GOG has soared. These platforms have revolutionized the way indie developers distribute their games to a global audience. Unlike in the past, where securing a physical retail release or publisher deal was necessary to reach a wider audience, online distribution platforms and storefronts have democratized the process, allowing indie developers to distribute their games on a much wider scale and with greater ease. The late 2000s and the early 2010s saw a rapid rise in the popularity of these platforms, providing indie developers with greater control over their games distribution. These platforms have not only made game distributions more accessible, but have also opened up new business models, such as early access and crowdfunding, which have become more popular among the indie developers. By providing a platform for indie developers to reach a global audience, These distribution platforms have helped to break down the barriers and bring innovative and creative games to a broader audience. They have also allowed for a greater transparency and a more direct relationship between developers and their audience, facilitating an ongoing communication feedback loop, and will likely continue to play a critical role in the future and growth and success of indie games. The advent of crowdfunding platforms such as Kickstarter and Indiegogo in the early 2010s has had a significant impact on the indie game industry. These platforms have given indie developers a unique opportunity to fund their projects without the needing to rely on traditional sources of investments from venture capitalists or large publishers. Instead, developers can now turn to their fans and community for support. This has enabled indie developers to maintain greater creative control over their projects, while simultaneously securing the funding they need to bring their ideas to life. It has also provided an avenue for developers to gauge interest in their games before they even hit the market, as backers can provide feedback and suggestions during the development process. Crowdfunding has become an increasingly popular way for indie developers to finance their games, and many successful indie titles owe their existence to this funding model. By providing an alternative to the traditional investment model, crowdfunding has allowed indie developers to create unique and innovative games that might otherwise never been made. As such, it has become an integral part of the indie game industry and has helped to support the continued growth and success of the industry as a whole. Over the past decade, the influence of social media and streaming platforms such as Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter has significantly grown within the industry. This growth has provided independent developers with an invaluable marketing tool for promoting their games. Through strategic social media campaigns, indie developers can effectively generate hype and buzz for their games without incurring the high costs associated with traditional marketing methods. Social media and streaming platforms have opened up new avenues for indie developers to reach a wider audience and promote their games. As a result, some of the most successful indie games of the recent years owe their success in part to these platforms. By harnessing the power of social media and streaming, independent developers have been able to showcase their creativity and innovations, resulting in a new era of gaming that is both diverse and exciting. The oversaturation of digital platforms is one of the biggest challenges in the indie games industry faces, making it difficult for indie games to stand out among the vast number of titles available. Indie game developers must find a way to make their games visible and appealing to potential players. They also face the pressure to innovate and create games that offer something unique and fresh to the gaming industry, which requires significant creativity, talent, and technical skills. Furthermore, indie developers may struggle with marketing and promoting their games without the resources and marketing power of larger studios, often relying on social media, word of mouth, and other guerrilla marketing tactics to generate buzz around their games. Looking ahead, the future of indie games remains promising. With each passing year, we witness new breakthroughs in gaming, technology, and fresh ideas from indie developers that push the boundaries of what is possible in gaming, as long as there are talented and creative devs. So whether you are a gamer or a developer, it's essential to support the indie game industry by trying out new games, sharing them with your friends, and promoting them on social media. By doing so, you will not only help talented indie developers succeed, but also contribute to the growth and evolution of the gaming industry as a whole. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, and let me know if there's any specific topic you would like me to cover in the future. Also, I stream here every day on YouTube, so tune in when you can, and until next time, ciao!